Alabama Department of Transportation considers this section of Interstate 65 one of the most congested in the Birmingham metro. The plan is to widen it to 6 lanes from exit 238 in Alabaster, where I'm standing now, down to exit 242 in Pelham.
Now, many deaths occur when drivers swerve to avoid the debris and collide with another car. It's a serious problem that can absolutely be prevented.
Oh, it's a very loud noise when you hit.
Joey Asbick showed me where tire treads from 18-wheelers damaged his car not once, but twice. His car was less than 2 months old the first time he hit a big hunk of rubber. That's after another car sent the tire tread flying.
I pulled over on the side of the road and saw the hunk of bumper gone out of it. I mean, it kind of broke my heart a little bit. So I feel like I had a used car at that point because it had damage to it.
Asbick works in healthcare. He drives round trip from Hoover to Tuscaloosa each weekday. Both collisions with truck tire retreads occurred on Interstate 2059. His repair bills totaled $3,700. And if that's not bad enough, the value of his car has declined too.
So how do you feel about the value of your car going down as a result of those things?
It upsets you because actually if you maintain the value, then your next car is obviously not going to cost you as much.
State Farm agent Tim Johns is Asbick's insurance agent. He says the nation's largest insurer handles claims for road debris on a regular basis, including that time a client hit some furniture on I-65.
We've had in the past someone who actually hit a love seat that had fallen off a vehicle in front of them. Wow. That was on the side of the road and did really significant damage because it's such a big piece.
According to the AAA Foundation, more than 200,000 crashes have been blamed on debris on U.S. roadways during a recent 4-year period. Those accidents resulted in 39,000 injuries and more than 500 deaths. More than a third of the deaths occurred when drivers swerved to avoid hitting the debris. Clay Ingram heads up PR and marketing for AAA Alabama.
It hit several places right here along the bottom.
He showed us the damage that some metal did to his car when he was driving. He says swerving to avoid road debris is the worst choice you can make.
It just makes a bad situation worse, especially on the interstates and other highways where you're traveling at a pretty high rate of speed. It's very easy to lose control of your vehicle.
After 2 collisions with tire treads, Asbick uses Waze, the free traffic app, to warn him about road debris. Asbick says drivers post on the app if there's a potentially dangerous object on the road. He also keeps an eye out for small pieces of tire tread on the interstate because he knows there's a big piece nearby that could really damage his car. His strategy seems to be working. He hasn't collided with road debris in 3 years.
Since your last incident in 2014, do you feel luck is on your side now?
I don't know if it's luck or if it's just being in the right lane. I feel like I've been in the right lane in here lately because I have seen other people hit them on the road also.
And many are wondering whether headgear like this can make a difference.
14-year-old Nicholas Messina plays soccer for John Carroll High School in Birmingham. He's practicing as the new season gets underway. Last fall, Nicholas got a concussion while playing for another soccer team. It happened after an opposing player tried to steal the ball away from him, and Nicholas fell on his head.
I was confused, very confused, didn't really know, wasn't knowing my surroundings really well, and I had a headache, had a bad headache in the back of my head where I hit the ground.
I normally get a headache like right here, but...
Sarah Harrell, who's also 14, is playing junior varsity soccer for Hoover High School. She got a concussion while playing for a local soccer club several months ago.
And we were running 1v1, and I did like a move around her, and she came up with her hand and like hit me straight in the face from the front, and I flew back and landed on my head.
Turning around, right foot, back with your left foot.
Sarah's mother, Lisa, runs a soccer training facility for kids. She watched Sarah hit the ground and go limp.
Because this was such a dirty play, and we see it too often, really scary of how hard she got hit.
As soccer has risen in popularity, so have the number of injuries. The medical journal Pediatrics published the most comprehensive analysis of youth soccer injuries. The study found the annual rate of head injuries, including concussions, increased nearly 1,600% between 1990 and 2014. Soccer players between 12 and 17 years old were more likely to get concussions than younger patients. Researchers determined a few things: that soccer's popularity, growing awareness of concussion dangers, and passage of state concussion regulations may be behind the increase in the number of cases of concussions that actually get reported. But the study also determined that more aggressive play in the 12 to 17-year-old age group is a likely contributor.
And I think kids are bigger and faster nowadays, and so as they get bigger and stronger, they get more aggressive too.
Most soccer players don't wear protective headgear, but that could change in the future. The University of Wisconsin School of Medicine and Public Health is doing a study of up to 3,000 high school soccer players to see if headgear can reduce the number of concussions. It's the first scientific study of its kind. And while you might think wearing some kind of head protection is better than nothing, soccer headgear is actually controversial.
A lot of times with concussions, you get this rotational force that causes the concussion, and the headgear that soccer players wear doesn't help prevent that any more than not wearing anything.
And it may actually lead to more aggressive play, more aggressive tackling, more aggressive heading, and put the athlete at risk of having worse concussions.
In the meantime, Dr. Kohlberg says here's how to reduce a soccer player's chances of getting a concussion. Referees should enforce the rules. Players should learn proper playing techniques, follow the rules of the game, and strengthen their neck muscles.
And if you have strong neck muscles, the theory is that you can absorb the impact, minimize the shaking that can happen in your head, and therefore minimize the shaking of the brain inside the head.
The University of Wisconsin study will be wrapped up late next year. The results could impact millions of soccer-playing kids across the country and right here in Alabama.
Someone in our viewing area is calling 911 on a cell phone, but there could be a fatal flaw in that call because the technology in the 911 centers across central Alabama aren't able to pinpoint their location.
And that's exactly what happened this past December when a woman called for help because she thought someone's life was in danger. In fact, Birmingham's 911 director says that it took about twice as long to send help because of it. So what went wrong?
Well, ABC 3340's investigative reporter Brian Pia has been digging into this case. And Brian, what you found impacts everyone using a cell phone.
Well, Brenda and Dave, we started digging into the story after a tip from an Uber driver. The driver says she was bounced from one 911 call center to another because they couldn't figure out where she was located. It's a serious flaw that most people don't even know about.
She was not in a good place. She just needed a ride home.
Amber Boyd is a part-time Uber driver. Last December, she picked up a young woman on the side of the road in the middle of the night, soaking wet with no shoes. Boyd took her to the Villas, an apartment complex on Birmingham's South Side. Boyd drove up and parked outside. Her passenger got out of the car and walked inside one of these apartments. That's when Boyd started hearing a lot of commotion behind closed doors.
You could hear a distinct man and woman's voice. You could also hear something or someone bamming up against the door or the wall from my car.
Boyd called 911 on her smartphone at 2:44 a.m. She said she told the Birmingham 911 operator she was at the Villas Apartments, but she didn't have an exact address.
Birmingham 911, what's your emergency?
Alabama law prevents us from reviewing the 911 audio, but Birmingham's 911 director says there was a bad connection during part of that call. The Birmingham 911 operator didn't hear the Villas, only apartments. During the call, another problem developed.
They said that was not in their jurisdiction, so they transferred me to Homewood. I tell this story to Homewood PD. They tell me it's not in their jurisdiction. That is in Birmingham PD, so they transfer me back.
Birmingham's 911 director says Boyd's general location appeared on the operator's screen as Homewood, a neighboring police jurisdiction.
On the screen, it showed the tower address, which was the best address it could give. It was unable to see multiple towers, and it showed a tower address that was in Homewood.
Boyd called 911 3 times, 2:44 a.m., 2:57 a.m., and she was on the phone a third time at 3:05 a.m. as Birmingham police arrived. A precious 21 minutes went by.
scared for her, worried, not knowing what's going on the other side of the wall.
Boyd posted this photo on Facebook of her passenger being carried out of the apartment on a gurney. The victim had allegedly been abused by her husband, although she declined to press charges. The victim's father says his daughter suffered cracked ribs and a possible concussion. Birmingham police say Boyd's 911 call was classified as a disorderly person or fight, not a domestic violence call. But Silas says police should have been able to arrive at the apartments in less than 10 minutes. That's if the 911 system could have extracted more specific location data from Boyd's cell phone.
Oh, it's awful. It's the number one problem that 911 has nationwide is location accuracy.
Smartphone apps like Uber use a combination of cellular, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and cell phone tower data to locate you when you need a ride. But 911 systems collect location data from the nearest cell phone tower, not the technology in your cell phone that delivers more specific location information.
And unless the tower you see 3 or more, it has no means to triangulate you. So what we end up with is the closest tower location, which could be a mile from where you're at.
That's insane.
It is insane.
In Jefferson County, the most populous county in the state of Alabama, there are 17 different 911 centers. Now, each color on this map represents a different emergency district. If you look closely, you can see how the districts bounce around. So depending upon where you are, your cell phone call could easily route to the wrong 911 center. We did a test with Jeff Dempsey, Jefferson County 911's IT expert. He used his cell phone to call 911 inside the Jefferson County 911 center where he works.
Okay, right here I got Birmingham.
Then he walked about 12 feet, called 911 again, and connected with the Jefferson County 911 call processor right next to him.
Jefferson County 911, where's your emergency?
Just doing a test call.
That seems crazy.
It does, but that's just a small example of what could happen and is happening all over the county every day.
When you call 911 using a landline, operators know your exact location based on the address where your phone is installed. That's what pulls up on their computer screens, and you don't even have to tell them. But most calls to 911 centers across the country come from cell phones, not landlines. And that's a big problem if you can't tell 911 operators exactly where you are.
The truth remains that that side of your phone, that piece of our cell phone technology, is not fully integrated yet with the 911 side.
Now, the cell phone industry is developing a national emergency address database. It'll make use of Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, GPS, and other technologies to provide more accurate location information when you call 911 using a cell phone. The upgrade is designed to automatically provide 911 operators with street addresses and even apartment and office numbers. We should start seeing improvements in our area in about 18 months. But it'll take 4 years before the system is upgraded across the country. That's because there are 300 million mobile devices, 6,000 different 911 centers, and 5 major cell phone companies. So it is a complex system that all needs to work together. David Brennan?
Well, so Brian, you know, we've got the system we've got now.
Right.
So what are people supposed to do when they call 911 and on a cell phone and they don't know their exact address?
Well, you really have to be aware of your surroundings. Experts say you should tell the 911 operator the name of the nearest intersection or the name of a recognizable landmark if you don't know your exact address. And keep in mind, 911 operators are trying to find you as fast as possible, so be sure to answer their questions.
All right, Brian, thanks. Important information. We appreciate it.
Great story.